Hello, hello. The- Welcome to Liz's at home tutoring. I don't know. Welcome, smart girls. The other day I posted in our group and I asked, would you guys like me to do a short video or something about managing your time during the day? The response was really positive. I actually asked the question over on Instagram too. And over on Instagram, the response was pretty positive. I think we're all looking for some kind of video or some way to occupy our minds a little bit. Before I jump, I am drinking coffee. I am caffeinated and I am medicated today, so this should be an okay video. Before I jump into how I've been handling our time, I just wanted to say a couple of words. So it's taken me 2 weeks to realize that all the stuff I've been reading about COVID-19 and grief is actually true. This isn't just about COVID-19. Like, this is about grief, right? There's been at least 4 articles I've read in the last week about how we are grieving the loss of normal. And I've been really thinking about this through the perspective of ADHDers and how the normal is sometimes hard for us anyway. And so this transition into a world that is definitely not our normal is hard. And there's the big obvious losses here that we're grieving, right? The loss of potentially loss of life, loss of someone you love. Yes, I have notes because I can't remember anything. Loss of health. Everyone has to be really scared. I mean, even if you don't want to be, you're a little bit scared right now, and that sense of security has been taken away. And for a lot of us, the loss of jobs and income, it is a loss, and it is something you grieve, and you would be grieving this, a job loss, you would be grieving even if none of this economic COVID stuff was happening. So there's these big losses, but then the smaller losses that we don't always acknowledge very well, things like graduations we were looking forward to. I have 3 family weddings this year, 3 this summer. My brother's wife is having a baby in June, and from what I'm hearing, she's going to have to go drive herself to the hospital and have a C-section alone. Um, that's weird. That's really weird, and I can't imagine how she's feeling. Um, so I just wanted to acknowledge that we're all grieving these little things too. And I was actually thinking about how much in the ADHD community, especially with women, we talk about meal planning and grocery shopping. Isn't it interesting that a month ago we were talking about how stressful it is to plan meals and to have to go to the store or order groceries and how hard that is. And now I would give anything to go back to having the option of feeling safe in the grocery store. You know what I'm saying? That's a fundamental shift in our thinking, and we have the right to grieve that. So I just want to acknowledge that for a minute, and I just want to say that my losses aren't bigger than your losses, and your losses aren't bigger than your next door neighbor's losses. We're all losing collectively in this. So I just wanted to take a minute to acknowledge that first. The other thing I want to talk about is from the ADHD perspective. This pandemic situation has taken away one of our security blankets. You and I, as ADHDers, often depend on a sense of urgency to keep ourselves productive. Urgency takes many forms, but we rely on it. We find ways to create urgency. And it's sometimes a blessing or a curse, depending on how you look at it, but that is part of how the ADHD brain is wired. And it's part of the reason why we need something to activate us now, right? When we're in our home and our options are more limited and constrained. So this is the really interesting part. All of the same responsibilities we always had are still here. You still got to feed yourself. You still got to keep a roof over your head. You still have to take care of your children if you have children. You still have to maintain your relationship with your life partner. And you still have to maintain relationships with other people just virtually. And even if you've already lost your job, you've lost your sense of urgency, right? But you still need something to occupy your mind. if you have lost your job, how can you create another job for yourself right now? Because you need that. Your brain needs that to get you up and out of bed and moving every day. We all need to manage our energy. And I said that before all of this ever happened, but if you manage your energy now, if you look for ways to give yourself a sense of urgency now, it'll be a lot easier for you to create the structure you're trying to create in your day, day to day to day. And it's a process. It isn't just going to happen like today, tomorrow. It's going to be something that you work on every day, probably, or at least you're going to have to tweak it periodically. Okay, so let me move on to creating a loose structure. Coffee. By the way, I don't know how to edit videos, so however this goes is how it's going to go. You can be assured that it is all like pretty much off the cuff except for my notes. All right. First thing, I want to tell you that I come at scheduling from the perspective of someone that has a family and a partner living with them. If you live alone, this may or may not apply to you, but you probably should still create some kind of structure, if at all possible, if for no other reason than to keep your brain stimulated and on some kind of like track each day, okay? I like to keep things simple, and I like to try to make time and time management like visual. So first thing, even if you aren't going to like a work situation every day, I still think you should pick a wake up time. I don't really care what the wake up time is, 7, 8, 10, whatever. Pick a wake up time and try to be pretty consistent about it, because that is like the first signpost in your day, a wake up time. For me, I plan my day on like a 12-hour block. I don't do the full 24 hours because I don't see the point and it just makes me feel stressed. We don't need any more stress. So I'm first going to show you how I organize a 12-hour day. Okay? Again, keep it simple. And your morning routine should be the same, even if you're not going to work anymore. And I keep thinking about that because my husband's company laid people off. He is still currently working, and he just tried to walk in on us. He is still currently working, but they laid people off. So I'm thinking a lot about how you manage your time if you are out of work, and right now the potential of finding another job is much lower than normal. All right, let's look at 12 hours. I'm going to, because my husband is an early riser, I'm going to work with a 6 a.m. wake time. Okay, I'm going to do everything in 2-hour blocks because I visualize time in blocks. If you don't visualize time in blocks, feel free to draw circles, but maybe make a visual for yourself, however it works for you. All right, so I'm going to go 6 to 8 a.m. Believe it or not, to me, the first 2 hours of the day are very much transitional time. Transitional meaning take your time getting up, caffeinate, do your normal routine, brush your teeth, take a shower, put on clothing, start the day clean, okay? Wake up your children if you have children, have a breakfast. Think about what you're gonna do when that transition is over, but take it easy. Don't put too much pressure on it. You don't have to be anywhere at a certain time, hopefully. So let's say 6 to 8 a.m. I'm going to call this a transition time. This is all very timely because my son actually starts online school today. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to write transition in here. Transition and wake up. Wake up time. Okay, 6 to 8 a.m. For 8 to 10, I'll show you how we've been handling it here in my house. 8 to 10 a.m., I have been doing some kind of physical activity, whether in my house or walking my dog. While I'm doing physical activity, that's like the me part of it. My son will start on some kind of school project. Sometimes he goes to one of the approved websites. Sometimes I let him play, there's some math games. I let him play math games. I don't really expect him to do that for 2 hours, but maybe 1. And usually once I get him started, he can do that. So 8 to 10 a.m. is the first work block of our day. I'm just calling it work block or productive block, whatever you want to call it. Although productive is sort of a triggering word right now. Work, exercise, school stuff. I'm going to fill that in here, okay? Work, exercise, school, all right? After 10 a.m., I like to have sort of a slow transition for the 10 to 12, meaning maybe I have another cup of coffee, like as I film this. I might go outside again. I might go pick up dog poop in the yard, but I transition from 10 to 12 in like a slow way. It's also a good time, at least in my house, to maybe start a load of laundry. I won't go back until tonight, but I'll start it at this 10 to 12 block. So this, I could still call this a work block. 10 to 12 p.m. This is the middle of the day. For us, it's the middle of the day, okay? So break time, brain breaks. Break, oh my God, I don't know how to spell. Break time, family time, maybe a household chore. Now, what's interesting is today, my son starts 11:30 to 12:30 is the time period he's supposed to be online. And as you can see, that falls right in the middle. So he will definitely be getting a break in here. And what I'll do is I already set up the computer. I will put him in front of the computer, wait to see him log on and see his teacher, and then I'll walk away. So this all happens in the middle of this, right? And obviously this 12 will be pushed to 12:30, this time in the middle of the day. And then probably right around 12 to 2 will be a huge break in the middle of the day. And I say huge because we don't usually do much in that time. We have lunch, we talk about what we're going to do in the afternoon. So I'll go like this. And then I'll put lunch, plan afternoon. And around here, we know that once he's done with the school stuff, up here, and here, I'm not going to push him in the afternoon. He can go out and driveway dance with the neighbor across the street, but I'm not going to push him. If he's on a screen, it's okay. I usually set a timer for about an hour and then I make him read or something. But the afternoon is much more open time and I'm okay with that. So if you have kid, maybe think about doing this school stuff, pushing the school stuff in the morning and then in the afternoon, allowing yourself and them a break. That also gives you time to do other things, whether it's work, housework, whatever you want to do. Okay. So this is the planning time, this lunch. And you don't have to spend the whole 2 hours, 12 to 2, doing this. You don't have to do that. I just want you to know that you have these large hunks of time to transition in and out of various activities. All right. So if you go 2 to 4, I'm going to call it work, another work block, because this is your time. You've already done like the forcing your child to do the online school stuff. You've already started perhaps your actual work, your professional work or your housework. So this is your time here, okay, to give yourself a break. Allow your child to be on the screen if necessary. So I'm going to say open/work down here, 2 to 4. Okay, you're already 10 hours into your day by 4 p.m. 4 to 6. Remember, I only go 12 hours. So 4 to 6 is dinner, family. I do think during this weird quarantined period that we do need to sort of connect without arguing. Maybe my next video should be about not killing the people that live in your space. We'll see. But I'm going to say dinner, family, and evaluation. Ooh, I'm not a good speller today. Not a good writer either today. And when I say evaluation, you need to ask yourself, maybe over dinner, maybe after dinner, talk to your partner, whatever. How did today go? Ooh, can't see my writing very well. It says 4 to 6, 2 to 4, 12 to 2. How did the day go? Because if it didn't go well, if breaking it up into 2-hour chunks is like, oh, it's like stressful to you and timers were going off and you couldn't handle it, you need to figure that out down here later in the day so that you can adjust it tomorrow. Now, as I said, I do these 2-hour chunks because it gives us a lot of flexibility, you know, at how we transition from activity to activity, how the adults get their work done. You know, we go out to the kitchen check on the child, come back, do a little work, check on the child again. Is he on the computer when he's supposed to be? We do spend a lot of time going up and down the hallway, but that's okay. And I'm not getting super stressed out about it. This is the new normal, okay? All right, really quickly. Again, this is the 12-hour formula. I used 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can use anything you want. Don't forget to have a wake time and a morning routine. Break it up. Break it up into chunks, set timers, do what you got to do. Let me show you before I get off of here an even looser goosier formula that I was using up until online school became a thing at the end of last week. Okay. This is even simpler, and this might help you if you're one of those people that don't like these charts. Like I know you've seen on Instagram the charts with like 12 different colored blocks and all these outdoor activities, reading, chores, like no. Okay, so let's do a really large block, okay? Let's do 6 to 10 a.m. Seriously, a 4-hour block. You have all the time in the world to have your breakfast, fight with your family, start some work, get your kid on the computer to do some school stuff or not, or give up or wait till later in the day, do whatever you want, but take big blocks, big chunks so that you don't feel pressured, but at least have a couple goals outlined. Okay, so let's just pretend 6 to 10 a.m. What are all the things you could do in this 4-hour block? List them out. I would go for 3, maybe 4, 3 to 4 items. And some of those items can be things like take a shower, feed the dog, move your body. They don't have to be devoted to your family or cleaning. I'm serious. Okay? So let's do 10 to 2. You have to eat something in the middle of the day. What do you want to do from 10 to 2? Pick 3 or 4 things. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm giving you larger blocks if you need larger blocks. No matter how you cut it, you're going to have these transitions. You're going to have transitions between work and family, family and household. You're going to have to find transitions. Some of you will need specific timers. I can't say the word timers enough at this point. I don't really care how you do it. I don't, but I do think that having some in your head, some idea of how you want the day to look. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be color-coded. It doesn't even have to be my way. As long as you have your big 3 a day. I always talk about the rule of 3. If that works for you, do it. And one of your things should always be personal, like self-care, especially right now. The other one can be your family. And the third one is up to you, household or work stuff, okay? But what I don't want you to do is exert all of your mental energy worrying about the future, worrying and worrying and worrying. I know that is our default. We all have anxiety. I don't want you to do it. Make this your current project. Use your glucose, your brain energy for this right now. And maybe next week, you can start to move your attention to other things. You can start to create a plan for when things start to get better, for what kind of job you want to look for when the job market gets better, okay? Right now, let's do this. Put your questions below. I will do my best to answer them. God, I wanted this to be shorter. Have a great day. I'm going to keep drinking coffee. Take your meds.